Hi there, it's Melissa here, and I'm back with another Scraplift Saturday. Here's our inspiration piece for the week, and this is the layout that Marie Clark and I are scraplifting, and it's by Yana Korek. I hope I say her last name right, but Marie had found it, and it is totally not my style, and I love that, because I love that scraplifting allows you to push yourself beyond what you're used to doing. I'm just showing you here the products that I'm using. So I had bought in a sale some extra pattern paper from Hip Kit Club, and I bought 2 packets of paper, so they're basically the papers that came with a kit minus the embellishments. And then I just went through my stash and pulled some embellishments that I thought would go really well with the papers that I chose. And so a lot of them are Dear Lizzie. Let me just check. There's some Maggie Holmes in there as well, but there is Dear Lizzie Daydreamer, which is a gorgeous collection, and is really the reason why I bought that paper pack in the first place. So I'm also joined today by my daughter Azaria, who is sitting in the room while I'm doing this voiceover, and she may say hello. Here she comes. You gonna say hello?
Hi.
So she is 6.5. And the layout, or the photo that I'm scrapping today, is actually a photo that Azaria drew when she was 4. And it's not the best photo in the world in terms of quality, but it's a photo of a picture that she drew, and I was pregnant with our 3rd child, and Azaria is our 2nd child, and she really wanted a baby sister, and she kept drawing pictures of me and her with a baby girl in my tummy, and as it turned out, the baby was a girl, so I think that's pretty cute. And as we left the hospital after I'd had her, Azaria actually said to me, "I told you, Mum, it was going to be a girl." So I'm basically taking the elements of this layout and replicating them, and then using my style, which is more, I don't know if I'd say clean and simple, but definitely more clean and simple than the shabby artsy layout that I'm lifting. So I've got some paper that, it's kind of like fabric paper, and it came from some flowers that someone gave me, and I'm using that just to provide a bit of interest and texture behind my photo. My photo is very dark, there's nothing I can do about it. I did keep the original drawing, but I wanted to preserve this drawing and put this layout into my pregnancy album, so the best way to do that is to take a photo. And I would have Instagrammed this one, which is also doesn't really add to the printing quality, especially when you put filters over it. So anyway, all I'm trying to say is it's not the best quality photo in the world, but the story is really important to me. And I don't always think it's important to have to scrap photos that are, I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say? It doesn't have to be photo shoot worthy. Sometimes the story is more important, and the photo helps tell the story. So I've hand cut that heart, and I like it because it's imperfect, and the one that Yana had done was also imperfect on her layout. In other words, it's not, I don't believe a die cut was used or a silhouette was used to cut it. And I love the handmade look of it. So now I'm just building up some layers behind the photo, and she hadn't done that, but that's something that I do. And I must say that floral is just so beautiful. I can't wait to make another layout with it. And so I just want a peek of each of these papers showing, so I've trimmed them down a bit more. And I also trimmed down the fabric paper so that it wasn't dominating. Because the size of the heart is quite thin, I had to make sure that my layers balanced it. So I've used my stapler just to save on adhesive, really. And now I'm just working out where I want that to go. When I turned it over, I thought, wow, that is beautiful paper. That's by Maggie Holmes, crepe paper. And I did for a second there contemplate using that floral as the main side, but then I thought, no, I have picked everything based off what I intended, which was that chevron, more paler coloured paper. And now I did want to add some mist here, and I know that the original layout shows a lot of mixed media on the background. I just wanted to have a little bit. The paper is by Dear Lizzie, and it already has on it printed watercolour look, and I just wanted to add a bit of gold with the packaging technique just to replicate that a bit more. And so I'm doing it kind of in the position, or one of the positions that Yana had it on her layout. So now I'm pretty happy, I think, with where things are, and the layout, the original layout, showed what looks like washi tape strips, and so I was keen to use up some more of this Dear Lizzie washi tape that came from a hip kit, and I sort of went for the paler, less full-on patterns, so smaller repeating patterns, and also in the tones of white and pink, which really suit this layout. And it's typical fashion. Most of this you don't even see anyway, but it's all part of the process, building layers. So I have this little bowl on my craft desk, and in it I put bits and pieces that I find or I keep, or leftover bits, and I have it on my desk intentionally so that I can use them up. And I've had these black and white, there's two of them, paper clips in there for quite a long time now. I think I got them from a crop about 4 years ago. So it's really awesome to get them onto a layout. And I just got some embroidery thread and I've just looped it onto there, and it's just a bit of interest. And I love the look of pink, black and white. I'm also adding a glassine bag. The original layout had a tag behind it on the other side, but I thought I'll use the glassine bag instead of a tag. And that's using up stash as well. And what I love about these mood boards, I think I've said before, is that I love using up my stash and getting things onto the page that normally wouldn't make it on there. So this is the Simple Stories Vintage Bliss chipboard sheet, and I've had it for a very long time, and I absolutely love it, and it's great to be able to use up a bit more of it. And I originally thought I'd be using some of the pink elements, but this frame I thought looked really, really pretty, just layered behind the photo. And so it's a grey wood grain. So I'm just using my Tombow to stick that down. So you'll notice that I'm adding layers behind my photo, but the main photo cluster of papers, etc., I haven't committed to gluing it down yet. And the reason is that I want to add some stitching onto that heart. Now, the original layout showed a lot of, I think, hand stitching, or it looks like hand stitching, and like string art, and I thought that was just beautiful and amazing. And I was thinking about trying that, but in the end, I think because I've added so much behind the photo in terms of layers, but I wanted to keep it simple with the heart. And so I'll just be stitching on it with white thread. So here I'm adding that little 3, and I thought it was perfect because the photo shows 3 of us. And I've got these epoxy stickers. I don't even know where I got them from. They are so old. They're a Valentine's set, and I think I probably just got them from our local craft shop years ago. And so I'm stapling some of that thread down, and the reason I'm using thread is just to replicate what she's done on the heart, but in a different way. And I've glued that epoxy sticker on top, and because it was lifted up because of the staple that I put the thread down with, later on you won't see it, but I'll put a dimensional adhesive dot just behind it to lift it up and secure it more. So I'm also adding a staple to that little 3. It's from crepe paper. I'm not sure what collection. I just keep all my crepe paper bits and pieces together. I keep my things by manufacturer, and that one had also been floating around in that little bowl on my desk. So when I make a layout like this and I'm not using a kit of any sort, I just go through that dish and pull things to use up. These are some, I think they're by Studio Calico, and they're a wood alphabet, and I've had them for even longer than everything else. I would have got them in a Studio Calico kit years ago, and I always get challenged by alphas that you have to sort through. So my son helped me the other night, and we went through all the alphas, and there's a few letters and punctuation in there too, and we went through the possible names or titles for the layout that we could come up with, and we came up with a baby sister ? And I think I had actually used these on something previously, years ago. So I'm just adding my journaling, and it's underneath the chipboard cloud. And I showed you there that I stitched around that heart. I stitched 3 times, tried to do it uneven, and I just left my threads long on the front. And so now I'm coming to putting my cluster of photo papers and embellishments down, and I wanted to add some messy thread behind the photo. And here I made the mistake. You can see that I didn't have the position right, and I pulled it up, and because I used double-sided tape, I've pulled a bit of the paper away. So nothing is an error in scrapbooking as far as I'm concerned. Everything can be fixed. So I just put another epoxy sticker down, and I'm really happy with how that turns out. So it needed to be balanced on the other side as well, and here I'm just fussing with the thread I've already got down. And this clump is obviously far too big, so I trim it down and begin the difficult process of trying to make something look random when really it's not. So just fiddling, and I just glue it down with some Tombow, and I find this bit difficult because the Tombow is kind of all gummed up around the edge and sticky, and anyway, I get there. And so I just cut the end off, and fiddle around, and in the end I'm happy with how it looks. So the final touch is to add some black Heidi Swap colour shine. I add the date later on once I work out what it is. I hope you go and check out Marie's video as well. I'm really excited to see how she was inspired by the Scraplift. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be back again next month.